You are afraid because you know what you're meant to do. All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone, which actually means that people act busy to avoid what they already know they must face. And probably if you're watching this, you have the same problem. You're always avoiding this exact thing. You know it's big, you know it's important, but you're not allowing yourself to even start it. You're messing with other tasks, actions, or words, imitating the feeling of real achievement, when in fact you're just escaping the exact thing you need to do at this exact moment. So today we're going to talk about why do you avoiding important things, what still matter when money isn't the reason, why you're feeling anxiety and fear when trying to do the right things, the habits that keep you stuck, and how to stop negotiating and move anyway. So you already know what you're supposed to do because you've known it for a while. Is the conversation you keep postponing, the work you keep circling back to, the decision that comes in quiet moments and gets buried under noise, plans, and distractions. If you are truly unsure, you'll be calm. Real uncertainty doesn't create tension, it creates neutrality. The tension shows up when you do know, but acting on it would require discomfort, risk, or change. So the mind starts negotiating. It looks for more information, better timing, clearer sign, but none of that is actually necessary. Those are delays disguised as preparation. This isn't about forcing yourself or being harsh. It's about honesty. Stripping away the story that you need more clarity and admitting that clarity is already there. You're just avoiding the cost of following it. And the moment you stop asking, like, what should I do? And instead you will ask, why am I not doing what I already know? Everything becomes simpler. What you would do even if money disappeared. If money suddenly stopped mattering, certain things in your life wouldn't disappear. Some impulses would be still there. Certain work would still cool out you. You'd still feel drawn to creating, fixing, teaching, building, helping, or expressing something, even without paycheck. And that's not an accident. What you would do without money is often closer to your real work than what you currently call your job. Not because money is bad, but because money distorts motivation. It adds pressure, status, fear, and comparison. Over time, those things drawn out, they acquire signals that tell you what actually fits you. Think about the things you research late at night for no reason. The problems you naturally notice and want to solve. The topics you can talk about without preparing. You don't need to be paid to care about those, you already do. This doesn't mean you should quit everything and chase a fantasy. It means those unpaid impulses are clues. The point to where your attention is naturally steady, where effort doesn't feel like self-betrayal. And money is a tool in this case. It can support your path, but it shouldn't be the thing that defines it. And when you're unsure what direction to take, just ask yourself, what you'd still choose if no one were watching and no reward was promised? That answer is usually more honest than any career plan. Your real work reveals itself without incentives. You can tell what your real work is by what you keep returning to when no one is pushing you. No deadlines, no rewards, no pressure to perform, just you and your attention. Incentives are useful, but they're loud. They can make almost anything look important for a while. Titles, money, praise, fear, they all get people moving, but they don't last. Once the incentive fades, so does the energy. And real work doesn't behave like that. It shows up when you're tired, when no one's watching, when there is nothing to gain. You still think about it. You still feel slightly pulled toward it. You might even resist it, but it doesn't go away. Pay attention to what you do when you're not trying to improve yourself or prove anything. The things you refine for no reason. The ideas you quietly return to. The skills you keep sharpening even when there is no clear payoff. Your real work doesn't need motivation, speeches, or external pressure. It survives without incentives because it's connected to how you naturally engage with the world. Once you see that, the question stops being, how do I motivate myself? And becomes, why am I ignoring what already has my attention? Let's talk about why anxiety about tomorrow is a form of control. Often, anxiety about tomorrow feels like responsibility. Like you're being careful, you're staying ahead of problems, but most of the time it's not preparation, it looks like control. And where you're anxious about the future, your mind is trying to manage outcomes that don't exist yet. You run scenarios, rehearse conversations, imagine failures, and plan defenses. And most of the time it feels active, but nothing is actually happening. You're just gripping the idea of tomorrow tighter than it can be held. And there is a subtle belief underneath it. If I worry enough, I can prevent things from going wrong. That belief gives anxiety a sense of purpose. It makes it feel necessary. But in reality, it drains attention from what you can actually influence, what's in front of you right now. Real preparation happens in the present. You take the next honest step, you handle what's yours today. You rest when rest is needed. And anxiety skips all that and jumps straight to outcomes as if thinking harder could replace action or trust. Letting go of anxiety doesn't mean you stop caring about the future. It means you stop trying to control it with fear. You do what's required now and you accept that tomorrow will demand its own response when it arrives. And letting go doesn't mean giving up responsibility. It's not about pretending that something doesn't matter. It's about releasing the need to control every outcome in your life. You still show up, you still do what's yours to do. You stop carrying the extra weight, the overthinking, the self-blame, the pressure to make everything turn out a certain way. Responsibility is action, and control is attachment. When you let go, you keep the first and drop the second. Why even success won't cure your fear? And what then makes sense? Because a lot of people think that fear will disappear once they'll make it. More money, more stability, more proof that they're safe. But fear doesn't work that way. Success changes your circumstances, not your nervous system. If fear comes from needing control, approval, or certainty, success can actually make it louder. Now there is more to lose, more eyes on you, more pressure to maintain what you've built. That's why some of the most successful people are still anxious. They just have better furniture. What actually makes sense is not trying to eliminate fear but understanding it. Fear is a signal, not a verdict. It tells you you're stepping into responsibility, exposure, or at least growth. That's just normal and that makes you human. And the goal isn't to feel fearless. It's to stop letting fear be the decision maker. When you act in alignment anyway, even with fear present, it slowly loses its authority. Not because you defeated it, but because you no longer treat it as a reason to stop. Let's talk about patterns that keep you sabotaging decisive action. Because usually self-sabotage doesn't look dramatic and looks pretty reasonable. It shows up as just overthinking, rechecking, waiting for the right moment, or just improving the plan one more time. On the surface, it looks like responsibility, and underneath, it's hesitation wearing a smart outfit. And the pattern is usually the same. You feel a clear pull to act, then immediately start collecting reasons not to. You tell yourself you need more clarity and more confidence or more information, but the truth is that decisive action would force you to commit, and commitment removes escape routes. So you stay just busy instead of decisive. You adjust instead of choosing. You prepare instead of moving. Once you see these patterns, it becomes just harder to justify. The question stops being like, what should I do? It becomes, what am I avoiding by not deciding? And next comes obedience. And most of the time, it comes from the way you're taught to think. It starts with just habits like constantly asking for permission, waiting to be told what's acceptable, or measuring your choices against what will be approved. And over time, your own judgment gets quieter and external signals get louder. Another pattern is overvaluing rules and systems even when they no longer make sense of your situation. You follow just procedures because they feel safe, not because they're right. And safety slowly becomes more important than truth. And there's also the habit of deferring responsibility, like that's just how things are, or that's how it's done. Those phrases sound pretty neutral, but they train you to comply without even thinking. And these patterns don't make you weak, they make you just predictable. And predictability is what obedience depends on. The shift begins when you notice how often you're outsourcing your decisions and start taking them back one choice at a time. And you can ask probably, how can I finally do the thing? Like without any feelings or sabotaging around it. And the answer is you don't wait to feel ready. That's the first step, obviously. Feelings are unstable. They change with sleep, mood, fear, confidence. And if you require the right feeling before acting, you'll keep postponing the thing indefinitely. And the goal isn't just to remove feelings or sabotage, it actually gives them too much importance. The shift happens when you stop negotiating with them. You do the thing in a small, concrete way without making it a big movement. No ceremony, no overthinking. You don't ask, do I feel aligned? You ask, what's the next physical step I can take right now? And you take it. Sabotage thrives on abstraction, and action dissolves it. Once your body moves, your mind follows. You will still feel resistance, and that's totally normal. The difference is no longer treat resistance as a signal to stop. You, you treat it as a background noise while you act anyway. And when I realized this, I've asked myself, like, why God doesn't remove fear and how He helps in this situation. And fear doesn't disappear because it isn't a mistake. It's just a part of being human. If God removed fear every time and show up, you wouldn't grow. You'll just be protected from ever choosing anything real. Fear shows up when something matters, when there is responsibility, when a decision actually counts. So instead of taking fear away, God leaves it, God leaves it there and gives you something else, like direction, strength, and the ability to act anyway. That's where faith comes in. Faith is not just feeling secure or sure. It isn't calm confidence or emotional certainty. Faith is moving forward while fear is still present. It's choosing to act in alignment even when your mind is loud and your emotions are unsettled. And God helps by meeting you in motion, not by rescuing you from hard moments, but by just supporting you as you walk through them. Clarity comes after commitment, not before it. Strength shows up once you step, not while you're standing still, asking for guarantees. Fear asks, what if this goes wrong? Faith answers, I move anyway. And now comes the moment you stop negotiating with yourself. And also why this decision must be made daily and how to actually be that person. I will just provide you step-by-step plan. And I've just prepared a daily guide based on my experience on how to become the kind of person who follows through, actually follows through. The first step is pick one non-negotiable for today. Something that feels small, but at the same time real. It's like 30 minutes of work you're actually avoiding on one hard conversation started, or gym, walk, publishing the thing, applying, calling, building. If it's too big, you will bargain. So that's why you should make it doable. Second is decide the time and place. You can say, at 10 a.m. at my desk, I do this for 30 minutes. Third is remove one friction point. So maybe for you, it's to write the first line or put your phone away or just leave one tab open for the first time. Expect resistance and don't debate it. Just starting and just doing. Number 5 is start with a minimum win. You can tell yourself, like, I will only do this for 5 minutes, or I will do like one more single rep at gym. Finish with a clean stop, because when you will end as you planned, you will trust yourself even more. And finally, log it in one sentence. I'm not telling you about journaling every single day, but just to understand that, oh yeah, I've done this. I've just tried the thing that yesterday was the hardest for me, and I've done it. So guys, thank you so much for your attention. See you the next time.